This episode is brought to you by Global X. Since 2008, Global X ETFs has been committed to empowering investors with unexplored, intelligent solutions. Global X specializes in exchange-traded funds that offer exposure to the artificial intelligence ecosystem, including themes like data centers, robotics, semiconductors, and cloud computing. To learn more about Global X's entire suite of ETFs, from covered calls, fixed income, emerging markets, and more, visit globalxetfs.com.
This episode is brought to you by Merrill. Join one of the most iconic names in wealth management, Merrill. You'll be part of a dynamic team of advisors and specialists working hard every day to grow their clients' wealth. And with the support of best-in-class research, advanced digital tools, and the resources of a global institution, it's truly an opportunity you can be bullish about. Learn more at careers.bankofamerica.com. Copyright 2024, Bank of America Corporation.
At first, obviously, it was like, well, it's a sales pitch kind of thing. You know, they're trying to sell territories, you know,
Right.
the feeling of all of them. But it became where it was obvious that it was more than that. You know, I've been around a while, and you get past that portion where that's
Right.
not it, you know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Franchising 101 podcast brought to you by FranCoach. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today, we have one of what's consistently one of my favorite types of episodes that we cleverly call In Their Words, because we're going to be joined by one of our clients who have become franchise owners, and they're going to tell us in their words what this was like, and kind of hear all things about their backgrounds, why they even started looking at franchises, how that process went, which franchise, how it's gone. All the juicy details are coming on this one. So super excited for that. As always, a quick reminder of who we are first. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourself interested in owning a franchise. We are partnered with over 600 brands in about 70 different industries. We have two real goals with our clients. Number one is let's get you properly educated on what franchise ownership is all about to determine if this is the right path. And if so, what's your absolute best franchise to own? That's us. Now let's get to our guest for today. All right, and we are here back with our guest and ready to rock and roll today. These are always my favorite episodes when we get to talk to our clients and hear in their words about their journey and what even got them looking at this. And today, joining us from lovely Lafayette, Louisiana, is Mr. Darrell Bruce. Darrell, thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
We're excited to chat with you, and I hope you're ready. We got a bunch of questions. There's at least a couple in here. I'm going to try to catch you off guard. Get you to bust out in tears or something super dramatic along the way. So, even though I totally lied to you before we came on air and said I'll make it easy, that was a bunch of crap. So.
Yeah.
I'll be ready. But before we get into all your franchise journey stuff, Darrell, give us the scoop on just Darrell. Give us a little background on kind of your pathway to even getting looking at this.
Yeah, so obviously Darrell Bruce from Lafayette, Louisiana. 41 years old. Most of my career, 20 years, in the oil field, doing different roles, different things. Rental business, that kind of stuff. Coming up through the ranks, got to experience a lot of different angles and things. So built that up over the years. But I guess to start with, obviously wife and 3 kids. So that keeps things at task there, juggling between there. But like I say, right at 20 years or so, kind of doing those things and getting to travel the country and doing different roles and opportunities throughout that.
Now, travel the country sometimes seems like it's really glamorous, but there are a handful of times you and I talked and you were in the amazing vacation hub spot of Midland and Odessa, Texas. So you were doing some amazing travel, but not necessarily like places people are like dying to go see, right?
Exactly. That's to a lot of people in the past. It's travel, but it's usually the areas in the country that usually nobody wants to be in the oil field. So yeah, it's not nice cities and the great tourist areas.
Yes, I'm sure the Midland Odessa Chamber of Commerce will be writing us a nasty letter after this. But if
Yeah.
anybody's been to Midland, Odessa, it's it's a lovely part of the country if you're in the oil industry, which is booming there. But it's kind of cool too. You really your whole career leading up to franchising was kind of in that oil industry and doing all sorts of different roles throughout that. So do you think some of all the different hats you wore over the years, do you feel like that's going to help you as you venture into owning a franchise?
I do. I do. I think obviously, getting experience, all the different angles of that, you know, realizing what your strengths and your weaknesses, and having to put that in place in different times and different angles and the struggles. So, but by now it's kind of where you're good, where you're not. You could find the right people to put in those areas that you're not, and create a team. And I guess that's probably one of the biggest things, hopefully I experienced to today is what it takes, and it takes a team, and how you build that and push that, there could be a lot of success in that.
Yeah. Well, no, I think a lot of times when people get into a leadership role and certainly as an owner, I always tell folks to remember back when you've had that bad boss, because we've all had that bad boss at some point. Unfortunately, sometimes more of those than the good ones, but it still can be a great reminder of, yeah, don't be like that person, right? That was not good. And so you were able to kind of take that as being led and then turning that into a leader. And I know you've done a great job with it's your career of building those teams. I know you're going to do a great job with it as an owner as well. But what got you even thinking about franchising? Because you were, I mean, in an industry, a lot of ups and downs in the oil and gas world, but it's not going away anytime soon, right? So what got you even kind of thinking about maybe working for yourself?
I guess a couple of things, over the last just very few years, it's obviously you get into an age, maturing, realizing the experience you built over the years. And in my case, it was just kind of always wanted to and go into something different than the oil field. It was always kind of out of town, a lot of traveling. Wasn't so bad at the beginning. It was nice, a good experience. But as the kids are getting older, and myself obviously getting older, it becomes where you want to spend more time home and have more freedom, be more involved in the community, just be your own, be the owner, kind of set your pace, and all those things combined. It just felt like the right time, and it's nothing I could have forced, maybe even 2-3 years ago. So it's just a timing thing, and it all came together.
Nice. Yeah, no, and there's a lot of times people will work with and they'll kind of say towards the end or as they've kind of found that franchise, they're like, oh, I wish I would have done this years ago, but the timing wasn't right. And so you kind of got to that inflection point where you're like, okay, maybe it is time to do something on my own. But it also, and I know you found this amazing podcast, I think it's called Franchising 101, and found that and ultimately got to us. But even then, that took some time, right? What got you to the point from doing some research, listening to some podcasts, all the things you were doing to finally actually like reach out and get on the phone?
Well, I guess it was that, it was just doing a little research, and just not knowing so much at all about, franchising besides obviously the big names and things. And, just not even knowing if that's accomplishable and what angles of, different portions. So it's just listening to the different ones, and hearing the different stories. It was a great experience. And, getting off of that obviously and getting back on it, and with daily life. So it kept me involved into a portion where it built the confidence in a sense that, no, this is something I do want to do and I do want to entertain. Let me go ahead and make that call.
Yeah, no, awesome. And then, so we go through kind of our stuff, figuring out, kind of building things out for people. And then we get big, like, the big reveal day where we're going to go, okay, and I think for us, I want to say we started with 4 franchises, usually 3 or 4. So we start with those 4. Can you think back to that day and like you're always super kind and super polite, right? But Was that what was going on in your brain as we're talking about those franchises? Can you think back to what was what kind of went on mentally for you as a like, all right, dude, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, buckle up, we're gonna get you talking. What went through your mind?
Yeah, no, it was different. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I was actually traveling to West Texas for work. So in the middle of that drive, I pulled over, got all situated, and then that's when we had our first call, and or our call that you presented those four. And my thoughts at that time was basically, let me hear this out, let me entertain each angle. Still in my mind, it was like probably none of them, or just this is the process, in a sense, is this real?
Yeah.
So once you give me those four and then start to really dig into it, it started to transpire from there.
And and I don't know if you remember this, but I was literally kind of scrolling back through all the notes from our conversations. Once, and we did four, and then I usually fire a question most people are not remotely expecting me to ask at the end of that call. Okay, I've given you like 1/100th of everything that you're going to learn, but rank them for me. Do you happen to remember the ranking?
No, actually, I don't. I really don't.
So
I could
what's
guess now,
interesting,
knowing what I know, but it wouldn't be correct, I'm sure.
so the four, the two that we got down to, and we'll talk about this journey in a second, but the two that we got down to, one was number one was number four. And the winner was number four, which is and again, you're polite. Sometimes people are like, whichever one they like the least, are like voicing that with me. But and I don't think it was a big gap as I kind of recall all of that, but it's crazy that it's the franchise people like the least on that call where we're introducing that ends up being the one that owned. They own it, which is what happened with you. Are you tired of being stuck in traffic during a long commute to a job you don't really like? Do you find yourself thinking of all the things you would rather do than driving on the freeway at the speed normally reserved for a school zone? And do you wish you had complete control over your personal and professional life? If so, you're not alone. So do our clients at FranCoach. FranCoach works with talented yet frustrated professionals who long for more control over things like freedom and flexibility, the ability to work hard for themselves versus someone else, and most importantly, avoid the craziness of rush hour traffic. How can this be accomplished? By working for yourself as a franchise owner. FranCoach works with people like this to help them identify the absolute best franchise for them to own, the one that can help them achieve all their goals. If you are sick of rush hour traffic and want to see if now is the time to work for yourself, contact FranCoach today at francoach.net. Set up your free consultation so we can help you get off the road to nowhere and create your better tomorrow. Kind of take us through, because there were really two that hung in there for a long time. What were some of the things that you recall from going through that process that kind of helped you ultimately determine which was the best one for you?
I think it really was, initially, obviously, you're looking at them, thinking, can you see yourself doing that every day? Obviously, there's always the big question, and do you know anything about that remotely at all? So those kind of things obviously come right to you to where you position them. But I think once you start, validating and going into these calls and meeting the teams and the groups and the people, it just starts to take its course where you are, start to trend a certain way. It's not so much the product or what you're doing. It's, can you live that life daily with those, that group and that support and the validation across all the other franchise owners, all that starts to come in place where it just makes more sense,
Yeah. So the franchise that was kind of the winner for you in the end, which is which franchise?
Conservative irrigation.
Conserva Irrigation. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here because I know you're kind of in training, but we're timing that launch for first of the year. But what the heck, Darrell? Give us the elevator pitch. What is Conserva Irrigation?
Well, conservative irrigation is just it's definitely the professionals out there in irrigation and their efficiency and obviously conserve is in the name. So conserving water, green, which in turn helps save money. So but being professional at what they do and everything in the background, that it seems such a simple, product and system, but there's a lot to it, and they, take it to heart in that, and see a passion in it. So, and when you could, kind of create that, it means something to me. So.
Well, because I know from your background too, something that had a little bit of a, maybe was environmentally friendly was going to be important to you. And again, I always say in franchising, we really aren't all that smart. So the name of the franchise is usually pretty obvious as to what they do, right? Is so, irrigation, but really that's kind of that incredibly, I think, more and more scarce of a commodity of, good old water, and some of the technology they use were some of the things that really kind of attracted you to what the it part of the brand. Is that right?
Exactly. It was that. And obviously, a lot of all companies and brands are going to have their pitch, and for them to be able to, prove it and stand by it, and have the right process towards it, it made a lot of sense.
And it's just taken, I think, with a lot of home service, it's taking the, something maybe it's kind of like more seemingly blue collar, but really making it a more professional experience. And I think you and I talked about this during this journey was a couple years ago, the last house I had, it was literally a brief customer of Conserva, and ended up selling that house before we did anything. But it was I had used the very cheap, local, unprofessional person to do an irrigation system for me, which lasted about 3 or 4 months before it fell apart. Right. And so again, it was all the things I learned from that particular Conserva owner. I'm like, one, I kind of felt stupid as a consumer of like, I knew better than cheaping out, right? And you kind of get what you pay for, but the, paying for the quality for me, what it was going to turn into was like, I was actually going to be saving money on the water, because the original person did it so poorly. Not only was the water not coming out to water the grass, it was seeping underneath into the pool, right? So like at some point that was the pool is just going to pop out of the ground. So good luck to the person that owns that house now. But I know that again, kind of that professionalism was super important for you. So you had that kind of pride of being able to know we're not doing cheap crap. We're doing things right. We're doing it right the first time. All things that were kind of really important for you, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Any of the things I wanted to get in and do, it was going to be, I wanted something that did it top notch. That it was the best out there, and it wasn't the cheap way. So yeah. It was quality over quantity, and that's what there are. Like you said, on the front end, you got this pricing deal that some people just can't get past, but yeah, in the long haul, almost every time in this situation, you actually spend more money, like you said, throughout the process, yeah, of even just water repairs, across the board. So yeah, yep, exactly.
And so you talked about this as part of your journey and again, you did such a good job of rolling through the discovery process, of focusing on the important things. Like, you're the one that's got to get your butt out of bed every day and go do this. What's that like? But then also the people, right? The team that you can build, but that connection with the franchisor for you was really one of the big differentiators, I think. So talk about how that kind of evolved over time to, probably at the beginning when I'm saying it, it's like, yeah. But how much did that impact? Yes, it's Conserva irrigation. You can understand and get behind what the it is. But how much did that whole team with the Conserva irrigation and then their parent company Empower Brands really play into this for you?
I think it played a major role. It just overtook, realizing and validating and getting to meet everyone there, and the genuineness of professionalism, just top notch, group, and all consistent, in the culture is there, the support, they just push it in such a different way, that how they implement it. And it made it very easy. And like you said, I guess kind of got along, jumped right in with it. And at first, obviously it was like, well, it's a sales pitch kind of thing. They're trying to sell territories, that's right, the feeling of all of them, but it became where it was obvious that it was more than that. I've been around a while, and you get past that portion where that's right, not it,
Yeah. Well, and there's always this part of the process where you get to talk to franchise owners, and, usually maybe 3 or 4 owners, but you got to experience something, I mean, really pretty much unheard of is, yes, you go to the Meet the Team Day, but you had a step in between there where you got to go to, and I don't even remember what they called it, but it was kind of an event just for their specific owners to kind of help kind of like motivate them and move them to the next level. Talk about that experience for you.
Yeah, no, that was really great. Just like you said, got the opportunity to go to their one of their yearly events where it's all the owners and to recap on where they at, what they're looking for towards the future, and got to meet a whole bunch in person and validate a lot more, and it just kept validating from there on where they're taking things and where it's going. But it was a great opportunity, and like you said, probably validated a lot more than well, pretty much told I did. So I was kind of hanging around a long time. I think they were sort of part of the family already. So
yeah, I was gonna say, but no, it was, I think, shows the confidence of a brand when they're like, no, come on, hang out with all of the owners. It wasn't like there were, here's the four owners that I talked to on the phone that are doing well over with the founder, and everybody else is over here complaining and throwing a fit. It was like it was all of them across the board, which, I mean, that had to be incredibly reassuring to know, man, if I can see myself getting up and doing this every day, it's going to be hard for me not to be successful because everybody else around here is, and they're all committed to it.
Exactly. And then it obviously there was the last one there, so I validated it the most, and I just could not find anything bad about it. And like, not only the franchisor, it's the other franchise owners, is consistently the same type of culture and support, and really good, people who met and spoke with. So the support behind it, knowing that you're coming into this with just such a level and experience, and relationship wise, it just validated so much more, like you said.
Yeah. Did you get a sense talking to other owners that now that you are an owner, could you pick up the phone and call any of them if you had questions?
Oh yeah, I definitely believe that's there and will be there, and obviously for different ones for different reasons, and it'll continue to grow from there. But for sure.
Yeah, which is, and again, that's not always the case in every franchise, and that's okay. But I know for you, I think it felt like kind of part of a family situation for you, and I know it'll be great. You have a lot of people to lean on at the beginning, but a year or two down the road, that's going to be you. There's going to be somebody brand new looking to you for help, and being able to kind of again assist them and mentor them in a way will be. I will be excited to see how that goes for you, because I know you'll be great at it as well. So, so you go from, we get this kind of added step, but then we still go out to their corporate headquarters for the Meet the Team Day, which might have borderline been a formality for you at that point, right? But talk a little bit about what that was like, going out and now seeing their headquarter location, the different brands, and all of the people. Talk to us about that experience.
Yeah, it was kind of the same with just a different group. Obviously, like you said, the first event I got to go, it was mainly the other franchise owners, and that whole group and feeling and opportunity there, and not so much corporate side of things. And that, so when I went to E-Day there, it was the same kind of warm, welcoming, friendly culture, support wise, just this, willing to do whatever it takes and help, make you feel comfortable coming in. And so it was just consistently the same. And then it shows how that's the group they are on both sides,
Yeah. Awesome. And so we're sitting here end of October, we're looking at a launch first part of the year. So you've been in kind of the onboarding and training process so far. What's that been like? Are you overwhelmed? Are you feel like stuff is missing? How's that going so far?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot, but like you said, since the E-Day, it went back for partial of the training, half of the just a 1 week. So it was kind of a rush right away thing. So I was able to make that, and then probably follow up towards December and clean up that. But now starting to, obviously do the tasks and get everything open and going. at times it's a little overwhelming with the different portions coming in.
Yeah.
But it's also knowing that it's doing it properly and also have a little time, not so rushed. So
Yeah.
kind of got both feelings, both sides of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think people tend to be a little overwhelmed as to how much is there, almost like even in the onboarding before you actually get to training, right? But it is actually better. The way you're doing that, I think, is pretty smart. So it's giving you time so you're not rushing through it, and then we're also kind of being strategic for, you're not in a super seasonal market of, Lafayette, Louisiana, but looking at this and kind of launching out in the first of the year, I think is really key. Have you gotten out in the community much? Have you kind of talked to, friends, family in the area about what you are about to do?
Yeah, I've just actually started recently, mostly friends and family and some areas there, but not so much directly to the public. Obviously, so just starting to get my feet wet with that and, in the whole community on that aspect of things.
How's your wife and your kids feeling about you becoming a business owner?
I think my wife still didn't absorb in just yet. She knows it, understands it, but it's one of those things that it didn't sink in all the way. And on the kids' side, yeah, they think it's cool and this and that, and then they just turn around and
Right.
run, act right what they got going on.
Give me some money, Dad.
Yeah,
Um, excellent. Well, no, and that's again, I think you'll appreciate that. I think more time, less travel, especially less travel to other places, right? So, you may get to a point where your wife is like, "Don't you need to go someplace for a week and like kick you out for a little bit?" But I know it'll be so much better for you guys as a family to just be there and be around and have a lot of that freedom and flexibility for the kids. Is like they just keep getting older and older and more things going on. So I'm sure yours are no different from like your part-time parent, part-time Uber driver, basically, right?
yeah, exactly. No, and it's definitely gonna be a change of personal life also because of that. Spent over the years, some years, a lot of nights away traveling and being away. So being home this much, it's a change, and my wife's super supportive,
Yeah.
and she's without her, it wouldn't be possible in a sense to keep my mind in the game with it. So it definitely helped.
Absolutely. So for somebody that's kind of sitting out there listening to this, and because you were here 4, 5, 6 months ago, what would you tell somebody that's wondering if this might be a fit for them? Any advice for somebody sitting there like that?
I would definitely say it's well worth the opportunity of looking into. You can't lose anything from going down that path. Like I said from the beginning, it was I wasn't even sure I was going to be any of the four or where this would take, but besides some experience maybe. And I would definitely say entertain it, and you just never know, what can come towards you. And by far, they didn't know how franchising worked and the process. So but also it's a lot to it. It's not just anybody, I believe, can come into it and be able to do it. Put in the time it takes to really validate the things and make sure that it's something you need, you want to go towards. So be ready to, you can't go half in with it for sure.
You can. It's just not going to work very well, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much like anything. But and again, that kudos to you because you really did. You embraced this. You had typical borderline cynicism at times through this, which most people do. Of even at the beginning, oh, it's franchises, McDonald's, and all these big things. Well, this is really significantly more attainable than people realize. And you'd said this today, but even a couple of times during the process, like, are they selling me, right? Like, and then you get and are there some out there that probably do treat it that way? Yes, not really ones our team are going to work with, but as you kind of got into there was just more that excitement and that passion for what they are doing, but it really needs to be that total alignment. So again, kudos to you for how you went through this, and I'm super excited for you to get started, man. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And obviously, this all started with yourself and the relationship between us. From there to here, it's been tremendous and made the process very, very painless in a sense of what it could have been, and maybe wouldn't even be where it's at today. So it's been great.
Oh no, been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing the big grand opening for this. But I appreciate you. I know how busy you are, just with everything, getting ready for the business and family. So taking some time to talk to us today about your journey, and you're a couple months away from launching Conserva Irrigation. So for all the people in Lafayette, Louisiana listening, which has got to be at least 4 or 5 of them that are, right? Call Darrell. He's about to be open and take good care of you. So Darrell, my friend, it's been absolutely a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm so excited for you to get started, and thanks for coming on with us today.
Yeah, no, appreciate you having me on, Tim, and looking forward to the future and our friendship throughout that, and see where it goes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
Thanks again to Darrell Bruce, the brand spanking new owner of Conserva Irrigation in Lafayette, Louisiana. So excited for Darrell. Appreciate him joining. And as always, for all of our loyal podcast listeners, like Darrell was when all of this started, we hope this show helps provide some insight into the amazing possibilities that can be achieved with franchise ownership and how attainable it actually is. For more information, and when you're ready to talk to our team, franchising101podcast.net, FranCoach.net, reach out to us. There's never any fee for our service. You'll always be talking to somebody that is on the FranCoach team. Don't be fooled by the intimidators and the fakers out there. The other thing we want to remind you, again, we're like 8 or 9 episodes into our TV show, the Franchising 360 show, which is live Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. You can go back and watch all the archived ones. Maybe skip the first couple. We've gotten a lot better of late. So super fun stuff coming there as well. Again, FranCoach.net, when you're ready to learn more and take this step, maybe you can be a guest on this show in a few months down the road, talking about your journey. We are here to help you create your better tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast, where our ultimate goal is to help educate you on all things franchising so you can create your better tomorrow.